Hello, my name is David Dowdy, and this is for the Capstone Research Project Final, Part 2. What I'm going to talk about today is about the Boston Marathon bombing. I'd like to talk about um, what the police did well and how we can avoid a future attack such as this. What the Boston police did well, it started right from the beginning with the first responders to the scene. They made sure they found out who was injured, and they made sure that the injured got transported to the hospital, to the nearest one that was close by. This is a very good job by the law enforcement first responders. I mean, it's not always easy. I mean, you can never predict something like this happening, a bomb going off, two bombs in fact going off, like a daisy chain as it's called, and all the chaos going on with the people uh, screaming, yelling. I mean, I can't even imagine what it was like there being on scene. So the Boston law enforcement first responders did a great job making sure the injured got taken to a nearby facility. And then they started the investigation right away. They cleared the area. They made sure that any evidence that was there that hadn't been trampled on was still kept unharmed. And they did a great job collecting it, making sure it got on inventory. And then they started the investigation. This included doing canvasses around the immediate area where they actually locked down the entire city of Boston and went door to door, for blocks around where the bombs went off. And they kept interviewing the same people, same witnesses. There's people saying that, officers have been coming around many times over the past couple months, and including David, the guy who owned the boat, where of course the suspect Sarniov was actually found later on, a few months down the line. And so it's great to know that the police officers kept on it. They didn't stop looking for the suspects, especially with getting Sarniov's two brothers, Diaz and Kordiov, I believe his name is. I don't know how to say it, but also getting his brothers too, because that right there made it seem like we're not just going to go for one guy. We're going to go for his entire family, everyone that's involved. And of course, the two brothers, they admitted to throwing out evidence that could be used. A laptop and a backpack. And so it's great to know that the police arrested them as well, and hopefully everyone's going to get convicted for the wrongdoing. Now, there's many ways that we can stop an attack like this for the future, but nothing is foolproof. If someone is determined to do an attack such as this, this heinous act, there's only so much you can do to avoid it. And so one thing that I think that we can do nationwide to be able to prevent an attack like this is just to keep everyone vigilant. This doesn't just mean law enforcement personnel. This means the citizens, making sure that the average Joe or Jane on the street has at least some kind of training in knowing about what to look for suspicious activity, how to report it, calling the police right away, because this can avoid a future attack. Now, like I said before, if someone's determined to do an act such as blowing up a bomb, they're gonna do it. I mean, there's suicide bombers, in the Middle East, and they could easily become a suicide bomber here in America just to make a point. But this is why we have to stop them the best we can beforehand rather than after. So if we can have, the average citizen have some kind of training, do some kind of classes on what to look for suicide bombers, or what to look for in any kind of situation, even an active shooter, signs to look for. I think that this can go a long way with keeping our country safer for the future. Another thing that can happen is these classes don't have to be ones where citizens have to pay. They can be put right on TV. It can just be shows on TV saying, this is where we are right now as a country. This is where we want to get to. The way for us to get to this point, which is of course a safer nation, is for you, the viewer, to be more educated on what to look for suspicious activity. And also there's other things. I mean, this can go into our schools. The kids can start learning this. When I was in class growing up, there was no talk about what to look for bombers, what to look for shooters, what to look for. I mean, not until I got into the military in the army, what did, of course, that become more of an issue. And so I think that this point right here can go a long way. I know not everyone's going to be on board, but looking at the consequences, it's better than having to go through another Boston Marathon bombing. We don't want that. I don't want that in my city here in Milwaukee, and I'm sure no one else wants that in their city as well. So just to reiterate, I think the Boston law enforcement first responders did a great job on scene. They had no trouble with the evidence. Probably a little hiccup. One thing that they would have wanted to work on a little better is Mirandizing Sonya right in the hospital right away. They shouldn't have waited. That's a discussion that got out there, and there's been talk that they didn't let him get his lawyer right away when he asked for it. So that's one thing that PD, I mean Boston law enforcement needs to work on for the future. I don't think it's going to ruin the case. I see him getting, if not the death penalty, life without parole in prison. The brothers, I see them getting 25 years to life due to the obstruction of justice, and hopefully justice will be served because they can't let them walk free. So thank you for taking the time to listen to me. My name is David Dowdy once again. Research Project Final, Part 2. I've enjoyed talking about it, giving my 2 cents of my dislikes and likes and ways that we can improve our future, and have a good day.